I have to apologize to Chaplain Bendale because I told him, I was like, well, I'm only going to do one slide. I wish I'd have done more. Good pictures, good pictures. Chaplain Kitchens, thank you for this opportunity to come and speak. I'm Chaplain Jamie Danford. This is my awesome #1 RST, Chief Hales, who keeps me out of trouble all the time.
I try, okay.
So we are glad to be here. That picture of the boxing match that just showed up, I wish we would have had that, because if it had been mine, we would have been bloody. We did not come out of the last POM cycle with a positive. And so some of the things that I'm going to talk to you about has to do with shrinking constraints. So if we can do the next slide, this is just some things that we're going to talk about. Some of it, how it impacts you, because we manage 2 programs. You know, we manage the TR program, which normally you think of on the reserve and everybody thinks of, but for the Chaplain Corps, we also manage the IMA program, which is 75% of our inventory. But when you look across Reserve Command, the IMA program is only about 10% of the inventory. So everybody is looking at it from the standpoint of the operational TR mentality, where we also then have to step back and look at it from the IMA world as well. That produces some challenges and opportunities as we look at how do we manage both programs and allow them to flow back and forth and develop our folks. So just some numbers to keep in mind. When the Reserve Command was built 75 years ago, this is our anniversary, the understanding was we would capture the talent because we were downsizing and there was a lot of iron and a lot of people, and we would capture that talent. And that's how we're budgeted. We are budgeted to only accept 17% straight off the street. The understanding is you'll come to the reserve fully qualified. This last year, our accession rate straight off the street was 47%. Think of the amount of money it takes to take somebody from a citizen through basic training to at least a 5 level. We do not have that kind of money. And so when you're dealing with a small budget, it impacts all the way around. Now, as that ripple is affected and felt all throughout, the Chaplain Corps in Reserve Command is uniquely different from the very beginning, because we are the only AFSC that sends people to RegF. Everybody else we receive. And so when we're talking about, hey, we need 35 to 40 seats for OTS, they look at us like, what are you doing? As we explain, this is the program that we run. Chaplain Kitchens, we greatly appreciate the advocacy, because as was talked about with OTS saying, hey, we're going to do a reset. Well, what happened is that the reset this year, in order to get the medical community through, was only 2 weeks. Well, we knew that there was no way, because of how we train our chaplain candidates, we could do that. And so we set up OTS Bridge, OTS East, BroTS. I've heard it called a lot of different things, but we took OTS instructors and brought them over to Robbins. And so they did 2 weeks of OTS at Maxwell, came over and finished out at Robbins, and they just graduated. And so everybody going through has the full experience. They did not miss out on any of that leadership. So, #1, and then I'm going to turn it over to Chief. All of that in the background is we are leveling our IMA career field across the entire enterprise. If you're at a MAGCOM, our office has talked to you about what does your manning look like, so we can put our IMAs against it. From a chaplain perspective, I am at 50% manning to you. Now you're going to ask, well, what about the manpower determinant? How does it affect the IMAs? It affects us this much. This year, 70,000 was the end strength through reserves. Next year projected in the NDAA is 69,300. Across the FIDEP, it looks to decrease even more. We are truly not going to get more manpower. We are fighting to maintain as we are. That's on the chaplain side. Chief only has about 98 across the IMA world. So in order to gain, we have to lose. And so as we're looking at that, we're looking at how can we level that so I have force development? And I fully understand a lot of time you look at your base and you look at, do I have IMAs to take care of the base? I have to look at it and say, are the IMAs that I have force developed so when they meet a promotion board, they're ready for that next rank? And so what you're going to see as we're going to roll out, and the goal is if I do this right, I'm going to upset both sides equally. And so both RegAF and the IMAs will be pissed off at me at the same time. That's my goal. Victory. Think of your base being at 50%, and you may have a captain, you may have a major. We're going to get away from, well, this person's at this base, we'll just continue to upgrade the rank. We're going to have them move. Not only are we going to have them move, I'm also suffering greatly at the experience level in our TR world. So we're trying to get people to come over to the TR world to share that experience also, because that's where the AFRC hits us. I cannot deploy an IMA unless I've completely exhausted my entire TR population, which then prompts another question. If you do not have TRs to deploy, what are you doing? So we're working it, conversation. It will not be perfect, but if you wait for a 100% solution, you're going to get shot out of the air. So we're doing the best we can as we move forward.
Thanks, Chaplain Danford. And he's a pretty awesome RST as well. I just want you guys to know that. I'm beyond blessed and excited to work with him. So yeah, I actually want to comment also on the funding, right, on money. So unfortunately, this year, right, we did not fare well. We didn't take our boxing club, so I will be getting a pair tomorrow on Amazon. But as far as formal training, right, we have chaplains who have to go to BCC, and that's before they can even come into our world, and then we train them up, and we hand them over to you guys, right, as an already ready asset to come on your team. Well, likewise with religious affairs. We did not have the funding to do some of our religious affairs. So just to let you know, that was 10 chaplains and 7 religious affairs that did not get in the formal training this year that we were hoping and praying for. Now, I would like to say thanks to the Air Force Chaplain Corps College. They have said, hey, we understand, and we will allot you those seats in the next fiscal year. So we are grateful for that. However, just know that we're fighting and fighting. Some fights we win, some we don't. So sometimes formal training is affected by that. Something else that's affected by that was our AMRT. A lot of you may know it as STP, okay? So, but the acronym has changed to Annual Military Readiness Training, okay? So if Sergeant Kemp in our office, HCX, extremely awesome. If she ever calls out to you guys and she has an IMA who's going to be living in your local area and says, hey, we have 92 days. Can you take this person from RAC and train them up, and hey, let's get their 5-level knocked out, and let's get them on board and trained, because then we can turn them back over to you as a trained asset, right? So just know that AMRT is 92 days that we can give you an enlisted person to help us train them. So I wanted to talk about that part. And if you have questions about that, you can ask me offline. I'm happy to help you. So, and then, what? You got it, Chaplain Rios. Coming your way, bro. Okay. And so now I'll just turn it back over to Chaplain Danford on MPA.
So we're looking at, on the training, I reversed them this morning, IDTs and AT. Okay, I wish that we had duty status reform, okay? I also wish I had $1 million. Neither one of those is probably going to happen anytime soon. So we're constantly dealing with what status is somebody in when they come to you. Luckily, on the reserve, we have about 30 less statuses than you do have to deal with the Guard. So there is a benefit there. IDTs and AT is used for training. It is not used for just manpower backfill. That's MPA that is used. So when we push out as a chaplain corps and you hear, hey, we have to be CISM trained, we have to be Safe Talk trained, we have to be assist trained, that is what that is used for. And so that is the appropriate use of IDTs. Did I do that? That is the appropriate use of IDTs and AT. Talk to your IMA and help plan with them there. It is not just on your IMA's schedule of when they come. You can tell them, no, you're coming during this time. If they push back on that, call me, okay? If they're mad at me, it affects my LES this much. It affects my ability to sleep this much. So let us tell them also, it's a both and, but training has to be, because when the balloon goes up and things go sideways, we're not going to have the ability to say, well, it really doesn't fit with my schedule. And so we are moving into a more of a readiness mindset. That is taking a little bit of time. It is hard to turn a ship around like us, because of just the time frame. Think about it. If you have something to complete by the next 30 days of duty, well, that's a year and a half for us, if you're doing 2 days, 2 days, 2 days, 2 days. So it takes a lot of planning. What I would ask of you, if you're at a base that has a tenant reserve unit and you are planning some of this training, please, you can work through our office, invite them to come. Because I'm working as much as you are on making sure they're trained in CISM and assist and everything like that. And the more we can do this together, I believe the better off we are. I'm trying to get some of our chaplains to talk to their wing commanders about sending them to training so it's beneficial to the wing. And so if we have it, we will offer it to you as well.
And last thing, because I only have 2 minutes and 30 seconds, if you're a reserve member and you're here on MPA, just raise your hand. Awesome. You know what? Thank you so much for taking time from your family to do this. Thank you. So now for my Reg-Af brothers and sisters. Okay. For MPAs, when you know you are going to request MPA, please get us the request as soon as possible, especially the longer MPAs. If you send our office a MPA request for 365 days, I appreciate that you want to employ one of our folks for 365 days. Please do not send it to us 4 weeks out, because we now have to try to find somebody who can uproot their entire life and move, okay? So please give us plenty of time, okay? And the process. So just like always, if you have an MPA request, it will come to our office. And if we source it out, we have a certain amount of days that we're going to advertise it for you. If we don't get a volunteer or we don't get someone who can help you, we then are going to go to the guard, okay? This process is in place because just like Chaplain Kitchens needs to know where all of his assets are, likewise for us, right? We have to know where all of our assets are, so we partner with the guard. So what we cannot help you, we're going to go to the guard and say, hey, let's do this. So I just wanted to say that I appreciate the partnership with the guard and with you guys, but if you have MPA, and here's another thing, by name request. Ooh, I get 1 minute. By name request. I appreciate that you know some of our members and they're awesome and they're killing it, right? And you want that person by name request. Please do not call that person and say, hey, I have MPA days, blah, blah, blah. Can you come over and help us? Okay. Please do not do that until our office has a little email and a piece of paper from you that has confirmed your funding. We cannot uproot people's lives and then you actually did not have the MPA dollars. We can get you a person, but we have to have the dollars before we will uproot, well, before Chief Hales will uproot one of her enlisted members, I'm going to need that confirmation of your dollars. Chaplain Danford, sir.
Nope, 10 seconds, we're done.
Thank you.